Can VR make waifus real? Well, what do you think, Miku? Hello, virtual dreamers, Gregory here. If you've been in the anime community for any length of time, you've come across waifus and husbandos. To those of you who are unfamiliar, waifus and husbandos are fictional characters to whom one expresses devotion and proclaims to the world a sacred matrimony. For many, this is a fun meme, or a habit of the community with
some arguably dark foundations in the worst and most fragile parts of our psyches.
But we're not talking about that today. No, today we're going to address the titular question seriously. For those of us who actually want to have our waifus and husbandos be a genuine part of our lives, for whom the divide of 2D and 3D is a tormenting chasm, this is your video. We'll lay the groundwork for what it means to make waifus real, how VR can aid in the endeavor, go over the issues with AI in the present of VR tech, all to reach the final conclusion that answers our question. Like the sound of that? Good. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and take a seat, because this is the meeting that addresses the question of the utmost importance. Without further ado, let's get down to business. Can VR make waifus real? To start answering this question, we need to know what we're referring to whenever we're saying that a waifu is real, because I'm not playing around with some philosophical answer of real in your heart or some other patronizing sophistry. No, when I say make waifus real with VR, I'm talking creating that person you imagine when you think of your waifu as an actual person you can interact with, engage with, and actually marry. Capiche? Good. Now let's have a look at the source of our problems here in the first place. The divide between 2D and 3D. Waifus and husbandos typically come from games, anime, manga, light novels, and images in general. Thusly, they are often 2D entities. This means that we do not intrinsically have the ability to engage with them on their level. We are entities that are quite literally existing on different dimensions. As such, in order to take the further step of making them real, we must create a bridge between our planes of existences that allow us to go either to their world or bring them to ours. We'll address the latter option another time, because as you can probably guess, VR lets us do the former. That's right. The promise of virtual reality that we see in things like Sword Art Online is that you'll be able to experience things from the virtual world as vividly as one does in the real one. Had this been 10 years ago, we'd probably shelve the matter entirely since the technology wasn't even remotely close to ready. But this is 2019, and our head-mounted displays can achieve the sensation known as presence. Presence is a state where your mind has subconsciously accepted that what it's seeing virtually is actually the real world. This is a powerful effect, irreplicable by any other medium, and it is the sign that shows us that we have officially crossed the bridge from the real world into the virtual one. Well, once we've crossed that bridge, the next question really becomes finding our waifus. Are they actually here in the 2D virtual world that VR has taken us to? The answer to that is an unconditional yes. Because you see, the virtual world is in truth just a lower-end copy of the world of our imaginations, the place where waifus, ideas, and all of fiction originates. So if it exists in our imaginations, we can recreate it in the virtual world. You can try to find your waifu online, downloading a model created by others. Try your hand at using character customization software to try to recreate your waifu, or even grow your artistic abilities and create them entirely from scratch using 3D modeling tools. Whichever path you take, staring back at you at the end will be the waifu that you so sought. She is actually here. Okay, maybe that whole staring back at you was a little bit too literal here, since you might want to consider some gaze diverting patterns here and there. Which, well, you gotta address things, Evil. There are obstacles standing in VR's way. Even though VR can allow us to perceive our waifus as though they're really there, The problem comes in convincing our minds that they are truly the people that we think and not just some fake dolls. To accomplish this, we need artificial intelligence sophisticated enough to replicate behavior and personalities of waifus to such a degree that we think they are alive. In this regard, we're having some troubles. If you played any video game featuring non-player characters that have released lately, you're probably well aware that game AI is still very primitive and can hardly be said to be convincing relative to real people now. They're essentially just endless text loops, canned animations, response trees, and cloud lookups at best. The super AI we have that can beat League of Legends players sure aren't all that great at talking now, are they? Google Duplex sure hasn't changed the world, and unless your last name is Musk or Gates, you probably aren't getting away with using a supercomputer to build a waifu anytime soon. Okay, wait. Maybe we don't mind the lack of a genuine personality. We can fill in gaps just as we've done so far, right? All you need is a body to work with. Well, it's a shame, but those bodies aren't all they've been cracked up to be. Earlier I mentioned that thanks to it being 2019, we have head-mounted displays. But it must be noted that that is all we have, head-mounted displays. The VR of today isn't the same as the full dive of our dreams. Today's VR is a screen strapped to your head with a couple of pieces of glass to help your eyes focus. You'll be strapped down to a computer or stuck with a phone processor just to make a picture show up, only to be able to move just a few feet around in a small area. You want to feel things? Go out and buy yourself a big old suit or a special product to help fulfill your needs. Smell? Taste? Good luck there, friend. In the VR of today, the truth is, only your mind has crossed into the 2D world. Your body has remained in the 3D world where it's always been. VR isn't ready to bring you your waifu in full, and even if it were, AI isn't ready to animate that waifu to life. So really, can we truly say that VR can make our waifus real? You know what? All these quote-unquote obstacles, they don't really matter now if we really think about things. Because the question was, can VR make our waifus real? And when we stop to think about where we're coming from, the conclusion is obvious. We began with words, moved on to drawings, with sounds, then animations, to then videos and models, and now to VR. All of the things that stood in the way of us and our waifus before are paltry compared to the progress that we've had. So what if the VR of today is in full dive? Our minds don't care that the image isn't retina clarity with 270-degree fields of view, that the sound isn't propagating perfectly, that there aren't any haptic smells or taste. What's here is good enough to achieve presence, and that is an undeniable truth. What would a soldier or a businessman away from home not give to have that degree of clarity with their loved ones in the real world? We can get that with our waifus and husbandos anytime we want with a headset. How is that not something to celebrate? Also, what's this about needing perfectly convincing AI? Text on a page, pictures on a screen, and sounds from a speaker are just about all that was needed to fall for our waifus and husbandos in the first place. Now a movement or two is enough to break the difference? I can listen to Miku dance speaker on loop for days. People are underestimating the sheer power of waifus to unify the community in the pursuit of the consolidation of our efforts to better perfect our waifus. You want perfect AI? Go ahead and wait. Just don't ask where the footage for this clip came from, because you will be sorry. Part of the pleasure of seeing a dream come to pass is in the journey itself, not just the destination. So if you ask me, can VR make our waifus real? Of course it can. Making our imaginations tangible is in its name. Even if it's not perfect now, it will eventually be there. Because the reality is, VR is doing what it says. It is making our waifus real. But its job isn't to make us love our waifus. That's in our hearts. Whew. Well, that was a doozy. You've got your answer now. So, do you want to know what to do? If you still want to wait for VR and AI to be perfect, despite everything we've just talked about, check out my other video on when you should expect Full Dive to be available, so you can start making your plans and scheduling things in advance. It's coincidentally right around the same time that the AI will be ready, so yeah, 2-for-1 deal. Or, if you want to be a good spouse, use the tools available to you to get what you need now and make do with the shortcomings. It wasn't that long ago that the best long-distance communication could offer you were pay-by-minute phone calls and darn letters. You want to tell me a VR headset, high-end headphones, motion control synced to your hands, and other products aren't good enough for you? Fine. More waifus for the rest of us. What waifu or husbando wouldn't want to cheat on somebody that's being so picky? But you aren't one of those picky people, right? Well, good. So go down to the description and check out my Amazon affiliate links to help you get started on your journey. I'm kind of curating some of the better stuff, so you can at the very least get a good place to start. I won't go into certain things just because I want to keep this channel monetized, and trust me, you want me to get as much cash as I can, because I'm building VR legs, which as you can imagine, will come in handy in all our waifu endeavors. So yeah, subscribe, hit the bell icon, like, share, comment, do just about everything you can down there, because it lets YouTube know where your priorities are, so you can get access to my dream realizing channel on the regular. It'll also let you check out more videos on waifus. Consider checking out Gigex's video on waifus as well. He does some pretty good stuff. And remember everyone, you really will want to be here on the regular, since for now, I'm done. Till next time, my fellow adventurers and dreamers, this has been Gregory, logging out.